Behind the Springs.
Well, thanks a lot again for listening Behind the Springs. Please rate, like, subscribe.
An inside look at your local government.
Reach out to us. Let us know what you want to hear.
Colorado Springs.
Nearly 500,000 people.
Olympic City, USA.
Garden of the Gods.
Pikes Peak.
It's a growing city.
Our local government has a lot of employees. What exactly do they do?
How does it impact my life?
This is where you find out.
Behind the Springs, an inside look at your local government.
You have likely heard that Colorado Springs is Olympic City, USA. You might know about the Olympic Training Center and the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee headquarters here in Colorado Springs.
But we want to focus today on the athletes, one in particular who just so happens to be a world champion and can give us an idea of what it means to train here and what that training involves as she sets her sights on Tokyo.
The Summer Games will be here, Ted, before you know it. Tokyo 2020. We are excited to welcome 2019 Women's Freestyle World Champion and United Wrestling Federation's Women's Wrestler of the Year, Tamyra Mensah-Stock. Thank you for being here with us.
Hi. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for giving us your time to explain your training and, first of all, your sport. Do you mind if we just start with asking a little bit about you and how you even got to be where you are and got into this whole deal?
No, I don't mind at all. I welcome it.
Okay.
I'm an open book.
This is your passion.
Yeah.
You're right, or else I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
I'm 7 years old.
That's right.
Is that when you started?
No, I'm 27.
Oh, I thought you said 7 years old you started. No.
I actually started when I was 15.
Okay.
I was actually kind of on the older side.
Okay.
Like, people usually start when they're 7, 4,
Right.
10.
What got you going?
Yeah.
So I was actually in track and field when I first just started competing in any sports. And I was in middle school and high school when I was doing it. And I was a sprinter as well as a jumper. And our sophomore year, my twin actually came up to me and had said, "Hey, Tamyra, would you like to be a wrestler? They're looking for some athletes." And the only reason why she got into it is because she didn't want to be in a normal sport. And our mom told her to get off of the couch and do something with her life, because I would be at track meets every single weekend while she'd just be
At home?
kind of sedentary. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So she got into it because our mom wanted her to do something. And my mom was like, basketball, track and field, tennis, swimming, bowling, anything. And she was like, I want to be in a combat sport. So that's how she got into it. And she drugged me along with her. And I actually hated it. Hated wrestling, first off. Like,
What?
It sucked. Like, 100%. I was a germaphobe. I was in track and field where I wore hoops to practice. My hair was in a perm and my hair was in a ponytail and would always bounce when I would run.
You were looking good.
I was looking good all the time. That's why I was like, hey, I need my earrings for this.
Yeah.
So, like, still kind of a girly girl. So going into wrestling, people were sweating on me. People were taking me down to a mat that, even though it was cushioned, it was still hard because they were slamming me down. And, I felt like they were kind of mean. But after my twin convinced me to stay for an entire month until we had our first team duels, I ended up actually beating a state qualifier. I took her to her back and pinned her, and everybody was ecstatic. And I was actually 2 weight classes. So I was 20 pounds above where I normally sit. So the girl was heavier than me, and I took her down, pinned her to her back, and won. And I thought to myself, I could actually do this sport for a while.
Like,
This
hey,
is
I'm
great.
kind of good at this.
Yeah, like just naturally. And I realized how natural I was at it when I actually got second at state championships later on that year. And followed up with that. The next year got the actual title, and then another title my senior year with my twin. We were back-to-back state champions.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, and practicing, I'm sure, couldn't get any better. Tell us, there has to be some good home stories of...
Where was home for you? Where did you grow up?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I grew up in Texas, you guys.
Oh.
And I was actually born in Chicago, Illinois, but raised in Texas. And so being here in Colorado is so cold. Oh, my gosh.
It's freezing for you. But you're here why? Explain to people you're training here.
I am training here at the Olympic Training Center because after I graduated college, I needed somewhere that had good female wrestlers that I could train with and better myself. And so not taking away from my college program, because I actually made my first, that's where I won the Olympic trials in 2016.
Where'd you go to school?
At Wayland Baptist University in Texas, Plainview, Texas.
Okay.
Nice.
So not taking anything away from that program at all. But, you just need time to grow, learn to grow. And so I had to just shift where I was. And so I came here, got better, and I've made every world team since I moved out here. So
Wow,
it's
we
been-
must be lucky.
No, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Springs is allowed to.
Well, and also we're doing this podcast for those that don't know. I don't know how you couldn't know, but we're Olympic City, USA. So as we lead up to Tokyo in the summer, we love that you're coming on the show with us. But I got to go back to that question about your home life.
Okay.
Having your twin also wrestling, there's got to be a good story, right? About
Yeah.
you guys, did you guys battle it out at all?
Oh, man.
Were you friendly competitors or were you? Yeah.
So growing up, we actually we never punched each other growing up. That's the thing. Never punched
Well, it
each
sounds
other.
like a couple wrestlers. So there
Yes,
you go.
exactly. But we would always fight and scramble with each other, like just get on top and like just try to whatever kids do. And when we joined wrestling, I hated wrestling her. Like, she was 10 pounds smaller than me, and she was just incredibly strong. And like, already, I didn't like the sport. So when I had to wrestle my twin, I'd be like, Turkia, go softer. You're being mean. Stop it.
Does she still wrestle or no?
She doesn't. So
Yeah.
she actually, the reason why she didn't win state championships our sophomore year or our junior year is because she actually got hurt.
Oh, no.
So like she like blew out her knee our first year of wrestling.
Oh.
And yeah, so hers is like a comeback story. I'm always so proud to just tell her story. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but like that girl right there, she is the epitome of why I also continue wrestling now, because her dream was to actually just travel the world and wrestle, and she never got to do that.
Oh.
And she actually had the opportunity when we both actually made a world team together. And we were supposed to be traveling to Turkey, but Turkey had a civil war, and USA Wrestling was like, "You're not going," which is I'm grateful for that, but she, it just kind of sucks.
It's
that she didn't
disappointing.
Well, does she
go.
go to your matches a lot
She
of times?
tries.
Yes.
She gets pissed off when I don't tell her it's in the country, and I actually kind of failed to do that. My family all actually gets pissed off at me. They're like, "Why didn't you tell us you were wrestling in the country? Because you don't do it often."
Right.
Like-
They all want to be there.
They do. And I'm like, well, you guys, I don't know. I just figured that you guys didn't have the time. And you're like, no, we want to be there.
Yep.
So my mom, my aunt, my twin, they're like, hey, we are going to Olympic trials. I'm like, all right, I got y'all's tickets ready to go. Y'all just get your flights, your Airbnb.
So tell us about that.
Yep.
Is that-
Yes. So Olympic trials, April 4th is the only day that I'm wrestling, but I'm going to be weighing in April 3rd and April 4th. And the reason why I'll only be wrestling April 4th is because I am the world champion.
Woo!
So that,
There you go. We got the sound effects game over here.
that's awesome. So I will only have to wrestle in the finals of Olympic trials.
And tell us about the World Championships. That was back in September, right?
Yes.
We gotta put the video up on our podcast.
Yes. So
page. It's
if you're
amazing.
listening to the podcast, make sure you go to coloradosprings.gov/podcast, and you'll be able to find links on this page to the video, because the video is awesome. I watched it earlier before we interviewed you today.
You
Tell
take
us.
your victory lap.
Yeah, tell us just tell us about the whole what the championships are and where you were too, because like you said, you don't normally wrestle a lot in the USA.
I don't. I was in Kazakhstan, Nur-Sultan, you guys, and
Wow.
it's a weird city, but it was a new city. So Nur-Sultan was actually only, I think, 5 years old, and it was high tech when I was there. And though I was focused on wrestling, I still got to see a little bit of the city, and it was very nice. That is my husband calling.
Oh no! Silence the call.
That's okay.
That's
People
all right.
know it's live now.
Yeah, it's live. We're on video too, so go check out our YouTube page. That was a great way to cross promote there.
we want to take a quick break, but we want to come back and ask you, especially what it's like training here
Yes.
in Colorado Springs, what that means to you, for you, and then also what's coming next. I know April is the big date, and then the hope is Tokyo 2020.
Yes.
Right?
Well, and we'll finish the championship story, too.
Okay.
That's what we'll do first
yeah.
when we come back after the commercial
Good
break.
call.
Very true.
Reporting non-emergency community issues like potholes, light outages, and vandalism has always been, well, confusing. We see it and think,
I wonder when that will be repaired.
well, no more. Introducing Go COS, a new smartphone app from the city of Colorado Springs that puts the power to report community repairs literally in the palm of your hand. Download the Go COS app. Then if you see it, report it directly to the city for repair. The city's super crews will be mobilized. Kapow! Way to go, civic superhero. Your city thanks you. Download the app today. Go COS.
All right, we are back for the second half of this great podcast where we are here with a prospective Olympian.
Oh, so exciting.
And we're kind of getting into how you're going to qualify for that. But one of the things that we were talking about was the championships, the World Championships back in September. I want you to tell us about that, but I want you to start off telling us, what does it feel like putting on the red, white, and blue and going out there? This isn't for your school. This isn't for your high school. This isn't for your college anymore. I mean, you are you're going for your country. You're going to hear that national anthem if you get gold. So what is that like?
Oh, man. So it's an amazing feeling. First off, the reason why is because every chance I get when I see a person in arms, like a military person, I go up to them and I shake their hand and I say, thank you for your service. And though I'm not in the military, I think of this, what I'm doing, as a way to represent my country, and it is amazing. And I don't have to go in and like fight and shoot people. So
Yep.
it's a great representation for me. And when I hear the anthem, when I put on the red, white, and blue, I feel like I am a perfect representation of what an American should be, going and representing us on the mat. And when I step on that podium, people appreciate that it's me that's up there. They're like, actually, she deserves that. Like, she's a hard worker. She's a great American. And it's a great feeling knowing that there's a whole bunch of people on your side and on your team. And I love it.
Well, and at those championships, you won. And like we said already, you can find that video on the webpage for the podcast. It's fantastic to watch. At the end of it, it really hit me because you won. They raised your hand, and then you could tell it took you about 30 seconds or so before it fully hit you, I think, of what you had accomplished. So explain the emotions, the outpouring emotion that you had after that match.
So after every match, I know some people go like, oh, yeah. I just kind of go, raise my hand so I can walk off.
You were exhausted?
Exhausted. And so when I tried to, when he raised my hand, I was like, yo, this is the finals. I actually just won the World Championships. And I was actually trying to, if you notice in the video, I'm trying to pull my coaches up there with me. I'm like, come up here with me. It was because of you. And you're like, no, this is your moment. I was like, get up here. Come with me. And I start crying. I was like, come up here with me. And they're like, go do it, Tamyra. You got it. It's your moment. And I'm like, all right, fine. I can't believe I won. Oh, my God. It was amazing. And
I'm always curious, who hands the American flag? Because whenever an American wins, somewhere somebody brings out that flag.
They're perfectly placed.
Yeah, and how do I get that job? Who is handing the flag?
It's our coaches.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I can't get that job, but
It's our coaches. So just the fact that they had that flag waiting for me, they had the confidence that I was going to win.
Yes.
So that right there, that's one of the reasons why I wanted them to get up there with me, because I always see after people won Olympic championships or world championships, they bring their coaches up and they either get picked up by their coach, they do a body slam, they do a head and arm, whatever. And I'm like, I just want them to run around the circle with me. And they're like, no, just take the flag and go. Like, oh.
They're humble. They're humble.
Yep.
They were, but that was my mindset. I was mind blown. I was giving so much grace to God. I couldn't believe that how focused I stayed the entire year. Like, you guys, I was undefeated the entire year. Just headstrong, focused, knew what I wanted, because last year I had got third and I knew that I was capable of winning the championships. So
That's awesome.
Exciting.
And so next up is April, and we had the dates a little off. They're April 4th and 5th, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's okay.
Which
April
during the
4th
break, she was texting her family to make sure they could switch some
We gotta
flights
get the right
around, it
dates
looks
before
like.
the
So.
event. But that is where you will find out then
Yes.
if you are for sure going to Tokyo, correct?
Yes,
That's how it
exactly.
works in the world of wrestling. Okay, I know every sport's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
People get confused. So,
No,
but you feel
exactly.
confident going into this next
I do.
competition?
Oh my gosh, just talking about this is getting my hands clammy with excitement, of course. But yes, that is when I find out. And I find out based on how I perform in the finals, and it's best 2 out of 3. So it's kind of like paper, scissors, rocks. Like you win
Yeah.
the first one, you win the second one, you're good. If you lose the first one, win the second one, you go to a third one. Win the first one, lose the second, again to a third one.
And you've already automatically qualified for that final match because of your.
World title.
That's not a bad little bonus that comes
Better
with
get
that.
you something, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
talk a little bit about the sport too. We kind of jumped into your background. Obviously, wrestling has been around since the original Olympic Games.
Yes.
It looked like women's wrestling was brought in 2004. Was there some sort of issue where it might not have been in the 2020 Olympics?
Actually, yeah. In 2016, they were trying to get rid of wrestling, and there was an entire movement where they were like 2020 vision, and that's actually when I kind of got on the scene. So I was kind of confused as to what was going on. And my coaches, Terry, he was like, "Hey, would you like to go to a double tour with us? Because we're trying to promote women's wrestling and men's wrestling, and just trying to make sure it stays in the Olympics." And I was like, "Sure, why not? Yeah, I'll go. I've never been to Greece before." So
I'll take the trip.
exactly, right? It was beautiful, by the way. But yeah, there was a time when it wasn't gonna be in the Olympics, and that would leave me without the opportunity to be in the
I was
Olympics.
going to say, where would you be now if there was no 2020 wrestling? Would you still be doing this? Or do you think you'd do something else?
Probably not.
Yeah, because the end goal for practically every single wrestler is not only to be a world champion, but an Olympic champion. Like, we don't go out here like literally going through blood, sweat, and tears every single day. Like today in practice, y'all, I got kicked in the face twice. I like when I mean blood, sweat, and tears, I mean blood, sweat, and tears. So like we don't get on that mat every single day just to get a national title. We don't get recognition that way. Like when we go onto the mat, we're doing this because we want to be Olympic champions, world champions. And we have a wall of champions actually at the Olympic Training Center. And I will be up there eventually, but I want there to be a 2019 world champion and a 2020 Olympic champion on that wall. And I want that to be my name next to that. So, I probably wouldn't be doing the sport if it wasn't in the Olympics. I'd probably be a physical therapist.
Tell us about. Well, that's not bad either. Tell us about your experience training here and just your experience living in Colorado Springs.
Oh man, so every day, every single day, I love looking at those mountains. And right now, those mountains are like just covered in snow, and I'm like,
Right.
wow, they look a little weird today. But it is beautiful, and I love looking at them. I love being here. The elevation is just a thing of the past. You just kind of live with it. It's always hard.
Well, and that's a reason too for having the training center here. I mean, once you go back to Texas elevation, then I'm sure you feel like
You can do
a
anything.
superhuman.
Oh, I wreck house on everyone, like more so than what I usually do at this elevation. But it's amazing being here. Like I have great training partners, I have great coaches, and every day I'm just learning something new. And even if it's something that I had learned 5 months ago, it's still new to me because I've learned so many things. Like there's just so many things that you can learn in wrestling. You could be a 5-time Olympic champion and still continue to learn. You'll be old, but you're like still learning. And I love what the training center has to offer. And just living here in Colorado, like being like when I go downtown, like I love that. When I walk. Yes, I walk up the incline. When I walk up the incline,
Well, you're not one of the ones sprinting up there?
You just walk.
no, I'm not the one that goes one leg and then the other leg or does it 4
You're not
times.
in track anymore, so you don't need to do that.
But you do use that as one of your training.
Yes,
Yeah.
every now and then, maybe like once every 4 months.
Okay.
Like it's not like a lot, but when I go, I like taking my dogs up there, and my husband likes doing it too, and it's great just getting the city view, and I love it. I love being here. I miss Texas, but just this outdoorsy area, it's incredible.
Well, do you think Pikes Peak region is going to be possibly a forever home for you?
Me and my husband has talked about it.
Depends on your family, right? Yeah, it's
we,
hard.
We really want to go back to Texas because our family is in Texas, and I miss them.
Yes.
I do. I
Yes.
talk to them every day. Like I just talked to my mom on the phone last night, and she was like, "I watched your world championship match again."
She keeps watching it on repeat. Yeah.
She keeps watching it over and over, and I just kind of miss like being in that vicinity because we're family oriented, and right now it's just me and my husband, which is great. But
Well, even if you're just here for a short time, we're so thankful to have you.
yeah, 4 more years, maybe
Awesome.
2024.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, and can we also jump back to 2016?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that because you did win the USA qualifiers, correct?
I did. I won Olympic trials in 2016.
So why no Rio?
So the reason why is the weight didn't get qualified. And so the thing with world championships, every single country can go. And so everybody's there. For the Olympics, it's like, I think, top 16. So you have to qualify. So it goes to like 42 countries to 16. And so like they only want the best of the best of the best of the best there because they don't want the, like lax matches. And so at the 2015 World Championships, the weight didn't get qualified. And then when I tried to qualify it myself 3 times, I failed, y'all. Like it was heartbreaking. I got third, and third. And it had to be top 2. And for men, it's actually top 3 for the first 2. So I was like, if only I was a guy, I would be going. But I love being a female.
Yes.
I love being a woman.
Yes.
But so I missed it. And I honestly didn't understand the process back then. And I was just so confused because I was like, I did all that work. I won Olympic trials. I beat so many great people. And I don't get to go and like represent my country. I have to go and prove myself and actually try to get on the Olympic roster. So it was devastating, heartbreaking. I still remember how I feel. I still remember how I feel on the mat, how I felt on the mat. But that was also a catalyst to help me where I'm at now.
It fuels you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, so you are, moral of the story, overdue.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, way overdue. I am. Oh, it's burning in me right now. And the fact that I don't get to wrestle the entire Olympic trials, just like to kind of get the ball rolling, it's kind of weird because I'm used to not sitting out. I'm used to fighting and taking everything for myself. And so just sitting there and waiting and seeing who I get to wrestle, I'm like,
and they're all nervous about you.
Yeah.
yeah. Because they know
winner
I'm
gets
ready.
you.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they don't feel that great about that. But you
my
can always
gosh.
practice with your sister leading up until then.
Yeah,
And,
she is still so strong. I wrestled her a few months ago, and I was like, "How are you still strong?" But she weight trained every single day.
Okay.
She is still lifting weights. So
Yeah.
that girl is strong.
Yeah. Well, so any favorite stories that you want to leave us with or anything?
Like I smile. Like when I first started wrestling, I always had a smile on my face when I was taking them down, and my coaches were like, "Stop smiling."
You're scaring everybody.
Yeah, it was probably worse. But so like I enjoy what I do, and I'm a happy person. And when I step on the mat, it's actually weird to see the switch turn on, because you're like, "Is that the same woman? Is that the same person?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's still Tamyra out there. She's just not smiling. She's serious." So that's something that I just want to set people straight. Also, you don't have to, like, some people say that it's lonely at the top, and honestly, it hasn't been lonely for me at all. Like I said, I have my husband. I talk to my family every day. And sometimes when I feel alone, I look at my husband and I go, "Jacob, you know exactly how I feel right now," because he was also a wrestler. Yep. It's not lonely at the top. If anything, you got to the top because of all the people that helped you. Yeah. And you just don't leave them to the wayside just because you're at the top. You bring them with you and you go, "Hey, we all got this. You know what my goal is. You know what my goal is."
You sound like you have a great tribe.
I do. That's why I'm like, I want to go back to them. but my husband has filled the many shoes that are not here with us.
Yeah.
And
a good local group.
A great local group. So it's not lonely at the top. And that's just something that people say. And I go, no. Like when I first started out as well, I wanted to go, it's not lonely at the top, and I'm going to make it so. So I'm married. I don't have any kids yet because I want to give all my attention to them when they're born. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
It's pretty awesome at the top.
It's really awesome, and it's not lonely at all. All of a sudden, these people are coming out of the woodworks like, "Hey, Tamyra, oh my gosh, remember when you met me at 2016?" I go,
Nope. Have you been on the ride the whole time, or are you just jumping on? Sorry.
Well, all of our listeners, some of them may jump on the women's wrestling bandwagon.
Yeah.
That's okay,
I
right?
am okay with
You'll
that.
welcome them.
Absolutely. I hug y'all. I am a hugger, so I will embrace you with open arms. We'll have a conversation, and I'll just go, heck yeah, I'll remember that face and forget your name.
That's okay.
Perfect.
It's
Yeah, you
never
called me
too-
Mike before the show,
Oh,
but
come
we'll forget that, right?
It's never too late to learn more about Olympic sports, whatever those may be.
Yep.
So thank you for listening, and thank you for being on and educating us
Yes.
Thank you,
and
Jen.
telling
Thank
us
you,
about
Ted.
your
Yes.
experience.
Yeah,
It's just-
no.
We're
it's
excited
great.
to see what's next.
Oh,
for
I can't
you.
wait. I think your charisma, hopefully if you make it to Tokyo,
Yes.
will take over there, and we're glad that you've come on to our small Behind the Springs podcast before I'm sure
We can
NBC is
say
going to
we
be
knew you
all
win.
about talking to you
Yeah,
in
we
Tokyo.
knew you win.
Yeah.
I already did NBC too.
You did? Oh, you're big time.
No,
Yep.
I'm not.
See?
Well, nice of you to come here too.
No,
Yes.
this was great. I loved it. Thank you for having me.
Well, and thanks
Thank
for
you,
helping us promote the city and the great work that Olympic City USA is doing. April 4th and 5th, you'll be actually wrestling on the 5th at Penn State, correct?
Correct.
So it'll be at Penn State. Where can people watch that? Is it NBC Sports?
No, I think it'll be on Track Wrestling and Flow Wrestling.
Okay. So look for it. You'll be able to find it.
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll post some of that.
Yeah,
on our
we'll post
website,
that
too.
link on there as well. But for right now, Jen, I think you have some
Yes,
extra
couple
information
bits
that
of,
you want to give us.
City news for folks. We want to remind you of a couple things before we let you go. Number one is the 2020 census is coming up. Every 10 years, the census counts every single person living in the United States. So this is you. I'm talking to you, whoever you are. Starting in March, you're going to get something in the mail that asks you to fill out the census. It is safe, it's secure, it's super easy, super fast. You can do it online, by email, by phone. There's all different ways. You can go to 2020census.gov to find out about it. And it means big money
Please,
programs.
we need money.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
big money programs that is going to help things like HUD, affordable housing.
Fill it out.
This is huge for our region. And then, Jen, you also have a couple fantastic stories to share about CSPD.
I love these stories. Two of our officers were just recognized with a prestigious Bill Daniels True Blue Award.
I get the air horn.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is for folks that go above and beyond their duties, our officers, to help people in need. So we have Sergeant Larry Morgan, first of all. Back in June of 2019, he was notified of a tragic traffic crash involving a motorcycle. Both the driver and passenger died from that motorcycle crash and left behind 4 children. And so Sergeant Morgan took control of the situation. He ensured the children were fed, brought them to the substation so they could be notified by a chaplain. When he brought them home, he realized that he needed to buy some groceries for the kids and get them all set up until their family could come from Texas. And he did all of that for them so that he could make it as easy as possible during such a tragic time.
Making the
It's
best
just
of
like that-
such a tragic moment.
And it's just that extra little mile that our officers go that you don't see because it's kind of behind the scenes. So he was recognized for that wonderful work that he did with those children. And also in June 2019, Officer Alexis Falcon was dispatched to the scene, another traffic crash. One of the people involved was Spanish speaking. So Officer Falcon remained there and used his skills to communicate with the family about the crash. And then he figured out that there was a 3-year-old child that suffered from a disability and didn't have the correct car seat. So he went to a nearby store, he used his own money, purchased a new car seat for the family, and they were able to correctly install the car seat and safely get that kiddo home, and everybody was okay. But it's just those little things, and I know that there are plenty of officers out there doing them every day, but it's nice to recognize them, for doing that.
Yeah, let's give
sometimes.
another congratulations
Awesome.
there to Officer Falcon.
We
and
have
Sergeant
more
Morgan.
heroes than we can count in this city, so
Well, and
we
it's
love
nice
to tell
when
their
those stories that maybe don't hit the big media,
That's right.
because it's something that they wanted to do and did it so that they weren't really seen or doing it for media, and then their own officers go out and nominate them for these
our
awards.
officers are so
It's
humble.
awesome.
But we thank them for their service, and we thank you for listening.
To another edition of Behind the
Springs.
Springs. Watch the Olympics 2020 Tokyo and watch those wrestling Olympic trials April 5th.